motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I require you to give me your details. If you don't, it is an arrestable offence.
Right, but am I on the highway?
Pardon?
Am I on the highway?
You've been driving this vehicle.
Yeah, but am I on the highway now?
To Rate the Audits, the show where we highlight misconduct, analyze police and legal encounters, defend civil rights, and push for accountability. Today's feature comes from Auditor Brett Chamberlain. You'll find his channel linked below, so be sure to check it out and show your support. In this episode, Brett brings us a remarkable coin audit. He fills up over 200 pounds worth of fuel at a Shell station, including several jerry cans, and then attempts to pay using official Royal Mint coins, completely legal tender. Despite that, the staff refuse the payment and call the police. What follows is unbelievable. The responding officer arrives yelling private information, breaching protocol, and revealing a serious lack of training. Brett remains calm, explains the law, and leaves the scene with the upper hand, though the coins were never returned. Shell and the police end up looking embarrassed. Before jumping into the footage, I want to give a big thanks to T and Stewart for supporting the channel through RTA Extra. In a time when personal freedoms are increasingly challenged and authority grows more aggressive, standing united is essential. By becoming a member of RTA Extra, you're not only unlocking bonus content, but also directly helping sustain this mission, ensuring the public's voice continues to be heard. If you'd like to contribute, simply click the join button below. Your support truly means a lot. Now let's dive into the video.
Did my colleague get your name?
Yeah, you got my first name.
Do you mind if I take your first name? Is that okay?
What's your name and number then?
My name 2928 is PC Lee.
PC Lee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your name?
Well, I'm not prepared to divulge it in front of people that aren't police.
Okay. Well, I can ask that gentleman to step away if that's all right.
Yeah. Right. So what? Under what act are you asking for more details?
It's because we've been called today. Okay.
Yeah.
Anytime we get called to an incident, we like to get your name.
Yeah. What section of which act are you requiring my name?
I'm not saying it's under any act. You don't have to give your name to me today because you haven't committed an offence.
No.
But it's just for our records.
Yeah.
So would you be prepared to give me your name?
No.
No? Okay, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to make a note of your car registration.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay, is that all right?
Yep.
So all we're doing at the minute, obviously there's been a bit of confusion over the coins.
Yep.
Turns out that, as you said, they are legal tender. So it's now down to the petrol station whether they accept them. So your vehicle has come back to either a Brett Chamberlain.
You shouldn't be saying this in front of the people.
They can't hear me.
Yeah, they can.
Do you want me to ask them to move away?
Right from the beginning, the officer mishandles the fundamentals of proper policing. Rather than staying composed and assessing the situation, she immediately fixates on getting Brett's personal details. When he declines to share his name, which he's entitled to do, she decides to run his license plate instead. Then, in front of the Shell employees, she loudly announces, "This vehicle is registered to a Brett Chamberlain." A serious lapse in professionalism. That's not legitimate police procedure. That's a public disclosure of private information. Brett immediately challenges her behavior, insisting they continue the discussion somewhere more private. And he's absolutely right to do so. Police officers have a clear duty to safeguard personal data, not broadcast it across a fuel station forecourt like casual gossip. Her actions weren't just careless. They demonstrated a complete disregard for both data protection and professional standards.
You didn't divulge my personal details that you got off the police national computer.
I wasn't divulging them to them.
Well, you were. You were speaking loud enough voice that they would have heard.
Well, they're not.
Right. Okay. Go on then.
So, a Brett Chamberlain.
Right.
What was your name?
Which section, which act you requiring me to give my name?
Road Traffic Act. You're driving a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I require you to give me your details. If you don't, it is an arrestable offence.
Right, but am I on the highway?
Pardon?
Am I on the highway?
You've been driving this vehicle.
Yeah, but am I on the highway now?
You've been driving this vehicle.
But am I on the highway now?
Can you just give me your details, please, and then we can get this sorted?
Am I on the highway?
So what
yeah, but I'm asking a question. Am I on the highway?
You're not on a highway right now, but you have been on a highway.
Yeah, so you could have requested my details when I was on the highway, but now I'm not on the highway. You can't, can you?
I can.
You could wait until I leave, and then you could pull me over.
Road Traffic Act, I can request your details.
Yeah, only on the highway, but not...
Can you just give me your details, please?
At this point, the officer's grasp of the Road Traffic Act completely unravels. Just moments earlier, she clearly stated that no offense had occurred, yet now she's trying to invoke traffic powers to demand Brett's personal information. The contradiction couldn't be more obvious. Under the Road Traffic Act, officers are only permitted to request a driver's details when an alleged offense has taken place while someone is driving or in control of a vehicle on a public road. Brett, however, was parked on a private forecourt, meaning those powers simply didn't apply. What this situation really highlights is a lack of proportionality. There was no offense, no risk, and no public disturbance, yet the officer's response escalated as if it were a serious criminal matter. A well-trained officer would have calmly verified the facts with the store staff, de-escalated the encounter, and gone on their way.
This is all about rights, okay? Now, I've got a right not to give you my details unless I have committed an offence. Right, the Road Traffic Act is referring to vehicles on the highway, not on private property. So if you're saying that I have to give you my details under the Road Traffic Act and I'm not on a highway, then you're infringing on my rights. Do you think I should provide my details on private forecourt?
Yes, I believe you should.
Because of the Road Traffic Act?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, why is that then?
Are you going to provide
No,
more
I'm
details?
just asking you these questions. I may well provide my details, but you have to articulate the law as to why.
Under the Road Traffic Act?
Yeah.
Okay. You have used a highway to get here today, have you not?
That's not the point though, is it?
You have used a highway to get here today. Under the Road Traffic Act,
Yeah.
okay, I can ask you to give your details.
So in other words, you could knock on my front door, my car's on my drive, and you could say under the Road Traffic Act, I want your details, and you must have been on the highway in your car.
You would be in your vehicle, would you?
Doesn't make sense.
You wouldn't be sat in your vehicle.
Doesn't matter though, does it?
The officer keeps clinging to the Road Traffic Act as if it grants universal authority. Her reasoning? Because Brett drove on the highway to reach the location, she believes she now has the power to demand his personal details. But that's a serious misunderstanding of the law. Under Section 172 of the Road Traffic Act 1988, an officer can only require driver information when there's reasonable cause to suspect that a traffic offense has been committed on a public road or in a public place. Merely having used the highway earlier doesn't mean those powers continue indefinitely once someone has parked on private property. Brett's comparison to sitting in his own driveway was absolutely valid. If her interpretation were correct, officers could walk up to anyone's home, spot them in their car, and insist on their details simply because they once drove on a public road. It's an absurd, and clearly unlawful, extension of police authority.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a bit of a break, right? So I reckon if I was parked in the car park, yeah, then I wouldn't have to provide my details. But because there's a way in and a way out, that means in law, in case law, it's an extension of the highway.
Okay.
And on that basis, I'll provide my details.
Would you like to give me your date of birth?
I can give you my driving licence because you. First of all, which section, which act?
Would you like to give me your driving licence?
No, which section, which
Under
act?
the Road Traffic Act.
Yeah, what section?
I'm asking you for your driving licence.
Yeah, which section, which
Can you
act?
just give me your driving licence?
You don't know it, do you?
There you go, 163.
That requires me to stop. If a police officer asks me to stop, but which...
And to give your details.
No, that's another act. Go on, which sections...
I'd have to check, sir.
Do you want me to tell you? 164.
164.
That's it, very good.
There we go.
Right.
This next exchange is downright embarrassing. Brett turns the situation around by using the officer's own legislation against her. Before even presenting his license, he calmly asks, "Under which section of the Road Traffic Act?" And that simple question throws everything into chaos. Flustered, one of the officers quickly responds with Section 163, but Brett immediately points out the flaw. Section 163 only authorizes police to signal a driver to stop a vehicle on a public road, and nothing beyond that. It doesn't grant the power to demand personal details or inspect a license once the vehicle is already stationary. Brett then clarifies that Section 164 of the Road Traffic Act 1988 is the relevant provision, the one, dealing with a driver's obligation to produce a license, not the officer's authority to question someone without reasonable cause. It's a straightforward legal distinction that every competent officer should understand, yet both officers stumble through it like they're still in basic training.
They're trying to give you your money back.
It's not my money, it's their money. It's my payment.
Pardon?
It's my payment.
They're not accepting it as payment. Are you accepting them giving your money back?
No.
Okay, well they're not accepting your payment then. So
Okay, yeah.
You're still going to be... Wait for that to go past. You're still going to be charged for the payment
Yep.
at a later date. Okay, they've got your car registration.
Yep.
They're going to forward it on to that. They can get your details from your car registration.
Yep.
They're going to forward that onto their head office, and
Yep.
you will be chased for payment later on. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whatever. Yeah. I don't.
Are you going to accept your money back?
It's not my money. It's their money. It's also the Queen's money, actually.
Are you going to accept the Queen's money back?
No.
What do you want them to do with it then?
Put it in the till and accept payment.
Well, that's not going to be accepted as payment, so I think you may as well just take it back.
Yeah.
Because what's that?
I'm not taking it back.
More than that?
£248.83.
Yeah, I think you may as well take that back.
No, I don't think
out
so.
Of pocket otherwise.
I'm not going to be out of pocket.
Pardon?
I won't be out of pocket. I've paid for my fuel with cash, with legal tender.
At this stage, the officer completely abandons any pretense of neutrality. Instead of acting as an impartial enforcer of the law, she starts behaving like a spokesperson for Shell. She's fully aware that the situation is a civil matter. Yet she openly sides with the business, urging Brett to just take his money back rather than acknowledging his legal right to pay with official currency. A police officer's duty is to uphold the law and maintain order, not to persuade a citizen to do what's most convenient for a company. When Brett mentions the total amount, $248, she responds with, "Yeah, I think you should take that back," as though her personal opinion carries any legal weight. The remark comes off as dismissive and unprofessional, revealing a worrying lack of understanding about the limits of her role and the importance of remaining impartial in a civil dispute.
What I'm doing is advising you, okay?
Yeah.
Like I say, this is a civil matter.
Yeah.
I can just give you advice to take the money back.
Right.
If you don't want to, fair enough. But just to let you know, they're going to raise it with their head office, and their head office will be in touch, okay?
Yeah, okay then.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Have you got any further questions or not?
No.
They would like your details. Are you willing to give them your details?
No, they're private.
Pardon?
They're private.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, they've got my registration number, haven't they?
They've got your registration, but it's just whether you wanted to comply with them and give them your details, okay? I'll let them know that you're not giving them your details, and what would you like them to do with the money?
Well, it's up to them to do what they want with it. Obviously, it's payment, so...
Well, they're not accepting it as payment, okay?
Yeah, but obviously they may well get legal advice, and the legal advice might tell them that that they need to accept it, and therefore, if they've given me the money back, then they've got no way to recover the money, then, have they? Because
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that if they did give it back, there would be no recourse in law to recover the funds later on. So I'm doing them a favour by saying, look, you hang on to it, it's payment for my fuel, I'm not a fuel thief.
Put simply, Brett's reasoning is just common sense supported by sound legal logic. He isn't refusing to pay, he's actually protecting both himself and the business from making a costly mistake. By leaving the money with the station, Brett keeps the transaction legally open and provides clear evidence that he made a valid offer of payment. If Shell later gets proper legal advice and realizes that refusing Royal Mint coins was a mistake, the funds are already in their possession and can be accepted without complication. However, if Brett were to take the money back, that lawful offer would no longer stand, meaning he'd have no way to prove he tried to pay, nor any legal grounds to reclaim the money. It's a level of reasoning and composure rarely seen in these kinds of encounters. Brett isn't being awkward. He's being strategic and legally astute.
They then pursue a civil matter and it comes back that it doesn't go in your favour, then you're going to be out of pocket. That's all I'm thinking. If you still have to pay for the fuel again...
How am I going to be out of pocket? Because what would have happened to the money that I've given them?
Pardon?
I've given them the money, haven't I? So how can I be out of pocket?
Okay, so you're not accepting the money, no?
No.
Okay.
Have you got your body-worn camera on?
Yeah, there.
Oh, so you didn't tell me about that either, did you?
Is there?
Yeah, but no, in the policy it says that you need to advise somebody. In fact, everything that's happened up until this point is not admissible in court because you didn't...
I can't hear you.
I said everything that's happened on that camera is not admissible in court because you failed to advise me that you were recording. In the policy, your policy...
What section is that? What policy is that?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, loads of people on YouTube will get back to you on that, so if you just look up this video, they'll explain the police's own...
That's perfect. I don't tend to watch police videos on YouTube.
No, you obviously didn't listen either when you were being instructed that you need to advise members of the public at the earliest opportunity that you're video recording them for evidence.
Like I say, what part of policy is that?
When Brett asks whether her body-worn camera is recording, the officer confirms that it is, but she's already made a crucial mistake. According to College of Policing operational guidance, officers are required to clearly inform individuals the moment they begin recording, unless there's a legitimate operational reason not to. She failed to do that. That's why Brett points out that her footage might not even be admissible in court. He's correct. Evidence obtained without proper notification or adherence to policy can be legally challenged on the grounds of procedural non-compliance, especially when it undermines fairness or transparency in the interaction. Interview 9, Brett ends this encounter the way every auditor hopes to: calm, composed, and victorious. After all the confusion, misplaced authority, and heated exchanges, he simply wraps it up by saying he's leaving, because he's already won. He stood firm, stayed polite, and most importantly, completed his payment using Royal Mint coins exactly as the law permits. In the comments beneath his video, Brett later confirmed that he never heard from Shell again, and that silence says everything. It almost certainly means the company accepted the payment once they received proper legal advice, realizing they had no ground to stand on. This wasn't just a win for Brett, it was a victory for everyone who values the right to use cash and have lawful tender respected. What makes this so significant is how easily the situation could have gone wrong. Most people, faced with an officer's pressure, might have given up or taken their money back just to avoid conflict. But Brett understood that doing what's right and knowing your rights aren't the same thing, and that difference is exactly what secured his win. The officer's behavior throughout the encounter is a perfect example of what happens when authority takes priority over understanding. From misapplying the Road Traffic Act to siding with a private business in a civil matter, she forgot the most important rule of policing: stay impartial. Her duty wasn't to take sides, it was to uphold the law. Instead, she protected convenience over citizens' rights. Encounters like this show why auditors play a crucial role. They're not out there to cause problems, they expose them. From failing to announce her body cam to demonstrating a lack of basic knowledge about payment law, this officer revealed how fragile public trust can become when professionalism slips. In the end, Brett didn't need to raise his voice or escalate the situation. He let facts, patience, and a solid understanding of the law do the work. One officer's mistakes turned into a national reminder about cash rights, lawful payment, and the power of standing firm in truth. That's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, comment,